Hey everyone, and welcome back to ESG Matters with Risk Insights. I'm Anushka Bogdanov. I hope all women in South Africa yesterday had a restful, reflective, and spoiled day. Last week, we had Irene Kino on ESG Matters with Risk Insights, and she shared some important insights about women, equality, and inclusivity at all levels of leadership. The discussion brought some very thought provoking points about leadership that support the principles of an inclusive world. So I thought today would be perfect for me to talk about why ESG matters to Risk Insights. The devil is always in the detail. Now, Risk Insights' ESG journey began in 2017. This was the year that BP made some major changes to recover from their reputational damage after the Deepwater Horizon oil spill that occurred in 2010. In 2012, for those of you that don't know, BP received one of the biggest environmental penalties in the world, a whopping 4.5 billion US dollars. During their changes in 2017, environmental risks and its importance became more pronounced in the world. At that particular time, Risk Insights was building and used to build risk management models for banks across the globe, specifically Basel risk management tools that measured capital adequacy for banks due to different risks within its asset and liability portfolios. These risks within the asset and liabilities impact the confidence of depositors and systemic risk. And this is mainly done through managing capital against risks that are based on the bank's risk appetite and its tolerance levels and the Basel requirements. So, as the news feeds of BP continue to make headlines, Risk Insights realized that environmental risks became a major important risk that needed to be built into the expected loss calculations for counterparties that had exposure to environmental risk. As the founder of Risk Insights and the managing director at the time, it became my responsibility to analyze the environmental risks, and that is how I stumbled upon ESG that gained momentum across the globe, especially amongst the industrialized countries. At the time, I realized that the banking and financial services sectors in South Africa, as well as the rest of Africa, were not measuring and monitoring environmental risks, and their disclosure was quite immature, despite some companies having some levels of disclosure. Risk Insights began investigating ESG and risk management relationships for Africa. At the time, we found that there was a massive fragmentation on ESG disclosure in the world, as there were over 200 frameworks and rating agencies with different methodologies and several materiality variables that cut across different frameworks. ESG was also seen as a one size fits all at the time. Being a one size fits all meant that variables such as social dynamics and environmental risks and governance structures of developing nations were not being taken into account. And there was also very limited academic research and literature around ESG and the impact on sectors in Africa. And this was mainly due to the lack of data. Risk Insights is based in South Africa, which is one of the first countries in the world to have adopted the integrated reporting framework in 2010. Given that companies listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange had adopted the international integrated reporting standards, this meant that companies were disclosing non financial indicators. So, Risk Insights wanted to create a methodology that was not biased. We wanted to create a risk management disclosure tool that would be used to unpack the disclosure of South African listed companies in a transparent, reliable, and consistent manner. Most rating companies sort out information on companies through interviews and questionnaires, but Risk Insights wanted to eliminate any bias and create validity and reliability of meaningful data, which would avoid greenwashing and social washing. From this research and investigation, I developed and pioneered the first artificial intelligence model with my team using TF-IDF scoring, which is a machine learning algorithm to mine ESG narrative using sustainability and ESG frameworks from across the globe. Then, using computer engineering, we were able to pinpoint ESG data from publicly, voluntary, and mandatory disclosed information of all listed companies on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. This data was then further validated by a team of business intelligence analysts at Risk Insights to ensure a superior confidence level of data and metrics that are used to report on ESG information. It took us 3 years to develop and validate, and in 2020, I found a further correlation and a relationship between firm size and listed companies together with ESG disclosure, thereby implying financial relationship between ESG and financial performance. This we'll save for another day. Now, why is ESG disclosure important? From a risk management perspective, this helps one look at how well a company is disclosing their non financial data and where pension funds and asset managers are investing money. ESG and non financial data also allows analysts and risk specialists to analyze the investment in companies into the well being of its employees and communities it serves. It shows employment practices, diversity management, remuneration practices, leadership, equality, and overall fairness within the company and the value that is being created. It allows risk experts to look at brand and reputation management. All of these are principles of risk management practices and provides for accountability in organizations towards employees and societies within which they operate. This is all done through leadership and the reporting by boards of directors in their annual sustainability or integrated reporting, thereby holding the leadership accountable to create an equitable, fair, responsible, and prosperous company to be part of a sustainable ecosystem. From 2017 right through to 2023, Risk Insights scaled up ESG GPS into 6 capital markets, showing ESG reporting baseline for Africa. Within the continent, most capital markets still make use of voluntary disclosure for ESG, but as of the 26th of June this year, the IFRS introduced S1 and S2 regulations, which makes it mandatory to disclose all risks and opportunities that impact on cash flow and sustainability practices for companies that are listed by 2024-2025, which includes climate related risks. I hope I've shed some light on some of the science behind ESG for Risk Insights. But for me, it goes beyond and deeper than accounting, risk management, and data science. ESG matters to Risk Insights because this is about our world. For now, it's okay, but it is destined to failure if we don't unite against the factors that are negatively impacting the environment for future generations. These factors impact our food security, water scarcity, biodiversity, air quality, health, safety, fairness, inequality, social lifts, accountability, and transparency as leadership. When I started my risk management career, I was taught that risk is everywhere. We are constantly weighing out risk. When you cross the street and look left and right, that is risk management. Otherwise, you're going to get knocked, right? Every single moment of our day to day life is impacted by ESG and risk management. It's all part of value creation and managing risks. So, how we treat each other, how we respect diversity, how we speak to one another, how we give back, our manners, sharing, caring, keeping our environment clean, finding ways to create energy that is clean and to reduce our carbon footprint while still having bread for our families, keeping costs down, managing budgets, making hay while the sun shines, being accountable to the GDP of a country while leading as board members, while leading as political leaders, while leading as management and staff. You are contributing to making a difference and maintaining or increasing value for all. Ensuring that the planet is safe and the decisions that you've undertaken is in a responsible manner. Maintaining a brand and a reputation, standing up for morality, what is also creating value. It's also ESG. This is all ESG and sustainable practices. So today, we have ESG GPS that I've pioneered in 2017 to leave my footprint and to do what is good for Africa. There are many things that I have not done right, but each day, each of us, including myself, have a responsibility to leave the world in a better state than we found it. I urge everyone to take ESG and sustainability seriously. Let's make a difference together. It's never too late. In the next few weeks, I have an exciting lineup of thought leaders, and I will be sharing some of the great companies in South Africa as well as outside of South Africa that are leading ESG and making a difference through transparency and value creation. I'm going to distill some of the naked truths of reporting and ESG understandings. If ESG is not a top down and bottom up approach, then we are not leading sustainably. We are reporting for compliance. This is not true value creation. Thank you for joining me this week. I look forward to you joining me next week for another episode of ESG Matters with Risk Insights. I'm Anushka Bogdanov. Ciao for now.